Welcome, friend. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Take a soft breath with me. Let it rise gently, then fall, carrying with it the weight of the day. You've already done enough. Now you are safe to rest. Tonight, we journey through timeless Zen stories, each one a lantern passed down through generations, each guiding you back toward stillness and the happiness that has always been waiting within. In our busy lives, we often forget. Peace is not something far away, nor hidden in possessions or tomorrow's promises. It is here, quietly breathing with you, just waiting to be noticed. So, before we begin, my dear listener, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy these stories. And if you feel called, share your local time and where you are listening from in the comments. I love knowing where my friends around the world are joining me from. Now, let us ease gently into tonight's first story together. Close your eyes, feel your body sink, and listen as if we were sitting by a lantern's glow, with the night air wrapping us in silence. On a wide river in ancient China, a young boatman guided his vessel through the early morning mist. The water shimmered faintly, reflecting gray clouds above. Though still young, the boatman was known for his fiery temper. He prided himself on his skill, yet he cursed loudly whenever another craft crossed his path. That morning, as he rowed, a shape appeared in the fog, another boat drifting directly toward him. "Hey, turn aside," he shouted, his voice sharp with anger. The boat continued forward, unmoved. "Are you deaf?" he cried. "You'll smash into me. Move, fool." His blood surged hot. The vessel drew closer until with a jolt it struck. Furious, he leapt up, ready to unleash his rage on the careless pilot. But when the fog lifted, he froze. The boat was empty. His fury dissolved instantly. There was no one to blame, no insult to defend against, only a vacant craft, carried by the river's current. The storm within him fell quiet, as quickly as it had risen. He pushed the boat gently away and sat down, stunned by the silence inside him. Zen masters tell this story to reveal something simple yet profound. Anger often depends on having someone to blame. Without an object, it vanishes like smoke in the wind. The Buddha once said, "Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at another. You are the one who gets burned." The empty boat reminds us, most of what provokes our fury is not about us at all. Friend, think of your own moments of irritation. A driver cuts you off. A stranger speaks harshly. A delay ruins your plans. How quickly the story begins. They disrespected me. They hurt me. they are against me. But what if, like the drifting vessel, these moments are empty boats? What if their actions came from their own storms, not from any intention to harm you? Some monks meditate by imagining boats on a river when anger arises. They place it in one vessel and let it drift by, watching it vanish into the fog. In this way, they practice releasing stories, discovering that emotions lose their grip when not fed by blame. Zen masters might ask you, when anger rises, could you pause and wonder, is this just another empty boat? As you lie here tonight, let this story wash over you. Imagine your worries and frustrations as small vessels drifting down a misty river. Some may bump against you, but none are aimed at you. Let them pass. Beneath it all, the current flows steadily, carrying you forward in peace. Close your eyes more deeply now. Feel the boatwoman's realization become your own. There is no one to fight. The river carries you, and every boat that bumps your way is already empty. Friend, the river still flows within you, doesn't it? The mist hangs softly, and the echo of that empty boat reminds you how quickly anger can dissolve when there is nothing to cling to. Your body grows heavier now, your thoughts slower, as though each one drifts past like a vessel carried downstream. With this calm beginning, let us step into another story, one about silence, not as the absence of sound, but as the boundless presence that holds all things. In the mountains of Kyoto, a monastery sat nestled among pines and stone lanterns. The hall was simple, its wooden beams darkened with smoke from decades of incense. One evening, as dusk spread across the sky, a group of monks sat with their teacher, Master Rinzai. The marketplace nearby was unusually loud that night. Vendors shouted, carts rattled, bells clanged as oxen were driven through the narrow streets. Inside the hall, the students fidgeted, their faces tight with frustration. Finally, one spoke. "Master, how can we meditate with such noise? The clamor pulls us away. We long for silence, but the world refuses to give it." Rinzai opened his eyes, his gaze calm and playful. "Do you not hear it?" he asked softly. "This is the sound of silence." The monks blinked, bewildered. The master rose and led them outside. The city sounds swelled, children laughing, dogs barking, wheels grinding against stone. The chaos pressed against their ears. Rinzai lifted a hand. "Listen. Behind the sound, beneath it, through it, do you not hear the silence? Noise rises and falls, yet silence remains. Without silence, no sound could be heard. The noise does not destroy silence. It reveals it. The monks strained to listen, and slowly, something shifted. The shouts and rattles were still there, yet they began to notice the vastness that held them, the silence unbroken, the space in which everything unfolded. Their agitation melted into awe. Zen reminds us, stillness is not something we must create. It is already present, like the open sky behind passing clouds. The Buddha taught, better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. True silence is that wordless peace, the awareness holding every sound, every thought. Friend, how often do you imagine silence as something fragile, easily disturbed by life's noise? Perhaps your mind races with chatter, and you think peace is far away. But what if the stillness is here, beneath your thoughts, holding them the way the sky holds clouds? In some monasteries, monks practice meditating at the busiest crossroad in the city, sitting calmly among carts, animals, and shouting merchants. At first, the noise feels unbearable, but eventually they discover the clamor floats in silence, like leaves on water. They learn that peace is not found by escaping the noise, but by embracing the silence that already holds it. Zen masters might ask, is silence the absence of sound or the presence of awareness? As you rest, dear one, notice the sounds around you now. Perhaps a hum of traffic in the distance, the whir of a fan, or the subtle creak of your home. Don't push them away. Let them float, and listen deeper. Do you feel the silence that holds them all? Do you sense the spaciousness that never leaves? The monks discovered that fighting noise was like fighting waves on the ocean. It only made the water rougher. But when they relaxed, they found that every sound rose and fell against a backdrop of infinite stillness. Tonight, may you too rest in that vast silence, unbroken by any thought or sound. Friend, breathe gently now. Each inhale rises, each exhale falls, yet silence remains constant. You do not need to chase it. It has always been here, and it will hold you as you drift into sleep. Friend, do you feel it now? The stillness that hums quietly beneath every sound? The echo of the market fades, yet the silence remains, steady as the night sky. With your breath slowing, your body softening, let us wander to another tale. This one begins with a simple robe, torn and patched, yet carrying a truth deeper than silk or gold. Master Yunmen was known not for his wealth, but for his presence. His robe had been mended so many times that it looked more like a quilt than a garment. Each patch was sewn by a fellow monk's careful hand, and though it was worn and uneven, Yunmen wore it without shame. One cold morning, a wealthy merchant arrived at the temple gates. His carriage gleamed, his fur-lined sleeves shimmered, and jewels sparkled on his fingers. He bowed with a flourish before Yunmen. "Honored master," the merchant said, "I have traveled far. My coffers overflow with gold, and I wish to offer great donations. In return, please grant me the profound wisdom of Zen." Yunmen looked at the merchant's silken sleeves, then at his own patched robe. Without a word, he took a small knife and sliced a fresh tear in the fabric. The merchant gasped. "Master, why ruin your only robe?" Yunmen held up the ragged cloth, sunlight shining through the hole. "Do you see? Even in its torn state, it warms me. Wholeness does not hide in appearances. True perfection includes imperfection." The merchant frowned. "But how can flaws be perfection?" Yunmen's eyes softened. "Your jewels weigh heavy. My robe is light. Which of us is truly burdened? Perfection is not in what the eye sees, but in what the heart accepts. A hole does not destroy the robe. It lets the light through." The merchant lowered his gaze, his pride unraveling. For the first time, he felt the weight of his wealth, heavy as chains. Zen often teaches that perfection is not flawlessness, but authenticity. A cracked pot still carries water. A scarred tree still bears fruit. The Buddha once said, "You are perfect as you are, and you could use a little improvement." This paradox reminds us, on one level, our true nature is already whole. On another, life forever invites us to grow. Friend, how often do you scold yourself for flaws? Perhaps you've thought, if only I were calmer, kinder, wiser, then I'd be enough. But what if your so-called flaws are stitches in your own robe, making you strong, unique, and beautiful? In Japan, artisans practice kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with veins of gold. The cracks are not hidden, but highlighted, made radiant. Some Zen monks see themselves this way, patched together with practice, each tear becoming a window for compassion. Zen masters might ask, what if the parts of yourself you wish to hide are the very places where the light enters? As you rest, dear one, picture Yunmen's robe. Feel the soft patches, the seams that hold. Imagine your own life as that robe, every scar, every mistake, every memory, stitched together into something wosuman and whole. Can you sense the sunlight streaming through the openings, reminding you that imperfection is not weakness, but an invitation to shine? The merchant left without offering gold. Instead, he bowed deeply, realizing that no wealth could buy the wholeness already within him. He walked away lighter, while Yunmen, in his patched robe, remained exactly as he was, warm, free, and radiant. So friend, As you drift deeper into sleep, remember, your robe is already complete. Every patch belongs. Every tear lets the light through. Friend, the image of Yunmen's patched robe still lingers, doesn't it? A garment frayed by time, yet more whole than the finest silk. Do you feel the gentle relief in knowing you, too, are already enough, even with your flaws? As your body softens further into the bed, let us wander into another tale, one filled with laughter, wine, and a master who forgot to be holy. In the streets of Kyoto, the evening air buzzed with life. Lanterns glowed above wooden stalls, and the scent of roasted chestnuts and rice wine drifted through the alleys. At a nearby tavern, farmers crowded around wooden tables, their hands rough from long days in the fields, their laughter ringing as freely as their cups. Into this scene stepped Master Ikkyu, robes plain, eyes bright with mischief. Known both as a monk and a trickster sage, Ikkyu often shocked the pious with his disregard for appearances. Not far away, a group of young monks spotted him. They had been discussing what it meant to be pure, what it meant to live correctly. When they saw Ikkyu vanish into a tavern, their jaws dropped. "Impossible," one whispered. "A master should not be seen in such a place." They followed, pushing through the smoky doorway, and found Ikkyu seated among farmers, laughing at their jokes, sipping from a clay cup. His robe smelled faintly of wine. His face glowed with warmth. "Master," one of the monks cried, "how could you? This is disgraceful. You've abandoned the way of holiness." Ikkyu raised his cup with a grin. "You are right. I forgot to be holy this morning." The monks flushed with indignation. "But your vows, your reputation." Ikkyu leaned closer, his voice low and kind. "My vow is to wake up in this moment. As for reputation, it is like smoke from this tavern. Do you really wish to spend your life chasing it?" He turned back to the farmers, listening to their stories of kra, weather, and aching backs. To him, their words were as sacred as any sutra. Zen often reminds us that true authenticity is more valuable than performance. The Buddha taught, "Better than 1,000 meaningless words is one word that brings peace." Ikkyu's presence with the farmers was such a word, silent, sincere, free of pretension. Friend, consider your own life. Do you sometimes try to appear more spiritual, more kind, more composed than you truly feel? Do you carry an image of yourself you must protect? What if you let it drop, even for a moment? What if you simply lived honestly, without the costume of perfection? Some monks practice deliberately forgetting their roles for a day, helping in kitchens, laughing with workers, sitting in the dust with children. In shedding the cloak of holiness, they discover something deeper. Buddha nature is not bound to appearances. It shines equally in laughter, in work, in play. Zen masters might ask, who would you be if you forgot to be holy and simply remembered to be alive? As you rest here, dear one, imagine yourself seated at that tavern table. Around you, farmers laugh, their joy unpolished, but real. You sip from a cup, not of wine, but of presence. Each swallow, simple and full. No need to prove yourself, no need to perform. Just breathing, just being, just enough. Ikkyu's lesson is playful, yet profound. Awakening does not mean separating from the world, but living authentically within it. Whether chanting in temples or laughing in taverns, the awakened heart remains the same. Free, open, true. Friend, as sleep draws closer, forget to be holy tonight. Forget to be perfect. Let yourself be exactly who you are in this moment and rest. Friend, can you still hear the laughter from that tavern? Ikkyu's mischievous grin, the rough voices of farmers telling stories over simple bowls of wine. Doesn't it feel lighter, freer, knowing holiness is not about pretending, but about being present, exactly as you are? Let us carry that ease into another story. This one about a man so foolish that villagers laughed at him, yet whose simplicity hid a wisdom deeper than words. High on Mount Kugami, there lived a monk called Ryokan. To the townsfolk, he was the great fool. He owned almost nothing. His hut was bare, his robe patched like Yunmen's, his meals no more than wild greens or a bowl of rice given by neighbors. Yet those who met him often walked away with their hearts strangely lighter, though they could not say why. One spring morning, cherry blossoms scattered across the mountain path. Ryokan knelt in his little garden, planting seeds in uneven rows. His movements were clumsy, his humming off-key, yet his smile shone brighter than the sun. As he pressed each seed into the earth, he whispered blessings only the soil could hear. A scholar climbed the path that day, robes neat, scrolls tucked under his arm. He had heard tales of this foolish monk and wanted to test him. "Ryokan," the scholar called, "you are lazy, planting and humming like a child. I have spent years studying sutras, memorizing words of the Buddha. Tell me, what is the meaning of life and death?" Ryokan held up a seed, small and plain. He smiled and placed it in the soil. "Life and death," he said, "are like this seed. It falls, it grows, it withers, It feeds the soil. Do you see? The scholar frowned. That is no answer. You sound like a child. Ryokan laughed, his eyes twinkling. Then perhaps the child is wiser than the scholar. The villagers often mocked him. Sometimes they stole his few belongings, and he would simply smile, saying, "If you wish, take the moonlight too." But those who lingered with him found his foolishness contagious. They felt freer, lighter, more playful. His simplicity reminded them that wisdom is not always in grand speeches, but in living fully each moment. Zen calls this beginner's mind, the openness of a child, meeting life without the armor of certainty. The Buddha said, "With our thoughts we make the world." To live like Ryokan is to step outside the constant thinking, to see the world fresh and whole, like blossoms drifting in the wind. Friend, do you sometimes feel pressured to know, to appear wise, to have answers? What if you could let go of needing to understand everything? What if you could plant seeds simply for the joy of planting? Could you let yourself be a fool too? Playful, present, free. In some Zen temples, novices are asked to write poems on scraps of paper and leave them scattered in the wind. The point is not to preserve them, but to enjoy the act of creation. Just as Ryokan wrote poems on fallen leaves and released them downstream, they discover the beauty of doing something with no need for recognition. Zen masters might ask, what if the greatest wisdom is simply to live as if every moment were enough? As you lie here, dear listener, imagine yourself sitting with Ryokan in his garden. The soil is cool between your fingers. Birds sing above, blossoms fall on your lap. There are no answers to chase, only seeds to plant, laughter to share, life to breathe. Doesn't the simplicity feel like freedom? The scholar left unsatisfied, clinging to his scrolls. But in the quiet garden, Ryokan continued humming, planting seeds that would bloom unseen. His foolishness was the truest wisdom. To live lightly, joyfully, without needing anything more. Friend, may you sleep tonight with the heart of a fool, open, playful, and free. Friend, the echo of Ryokan's laughter still lingers, doesn't it? That simple joy, humming among blossoms, planting seeds with no worry about what would come. Can you feel how light that makes your own heart? Less burdened, less serious, ready to see wisdom in foolishness? Now let us step into another story, one that begins with anger and ends in silence. It is the story of Master Benkei and the unborn mind. In a crowded temple hall, villagers, monks, and travelers gathered to hear Master Benkei teach. He was known not for complicated sermons, but for words so plain they struck like lightning. The room was heavy with incense smoke, with anticipation thick in the air. Suddenly, the doors banged open. A priest from another sect stormed inside, his voice loud, his face red with fury. "Bankai," he shouted, "your teachings are false. You mislead these people with your so-called unborn mind. You disgrace the Dharma." Gasps rose among the listeners. Some expected Bankai to argue, others braced for confrontation. But the master only smiled, calm as a pond untouched by wind. "Come closer," Bankai said gently. Suspicious, the priest stepped forward. "Tell me," Bankai asked, "before you entered this hall, where was your anger?" The priest blinked. "It was not here." "And if you leave now and forget me," Bankai continued, "what will happen to it?" The priest hesitated. "It would fade." Bankai's smile widened. "So your anger is not your true nature. It comes and it goes. Beneath it, what remains? That which does not rise or fall. That is the unborn mind. It is with you always, even now." The hall fell silent. The priest trembled. His fury cracked open, and for a moment he glimpsed something vast, untouched. His voice softened. "Then my anger is only passing." "Yes," Bankai whispered, "like a wave across the ocean, but the ocean itself never vanishes." Zen calls this the unborn mind, the awareness before thoughts, before emotions, before judgments, not something to achieve, but something always present. The Buddha said, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought." Yet awareness itself, unborn and unconditioned, exists even before thought. Friend, how often do you feel swept away by anger, fear, or sadness? They rise like storms, and we believe they are who we are. But what if beneath them, steady as the sky, there is a mind untouched, calm, and infinite? In some monasteries, students are asked to watch their emotions closely. When joy arises, they ask, "Where did it come from? Where will it go?" When anger arises, they ask the same. Slowly, they see that all emotions are temporary visitors. Awareness, the unborn mind, is the host that never leaves. Zen masters might ask, "Are you the wave, or are you the ocean?" As you rest, dear one, imagine the unborn mind within you. Anger may come like clouds. Worry may come like storms. But beneath it all, there is a silent sky. Can you feel it? This presence that has never been harmed, never been stained, never been broken. The priest left that hall changed. His pride and rage dissolved, replaced with a humility he had never known. He walked out into the morning air, the same man, yet freer, lighter, as though the unborn mind itself had opened inside him. Friend, tonight, as you close your eyes, let Bankai's lesson rest in your heart. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are the awareness in which they rise and fall. Waves may come, but the ocean remains. Friend, the ocean of the unborn mind still stretches wide within you. Can you sense it? How your thoughts and emotions rise like waves, yet something vaster holds them all, steady and still? Let that vastness cradle you now, as we drift into another story. This one is about a young monk who struggled so hard to practice perfectly that he forgot the heart of practice itself. At Aiheiji, the monastery founded by Master Dogen, rows of monks sat in meditation. Their backs were straight, their eyes lowered, breaths moving like a quiet tide. The hall seemed still as stone, except for the occasional flutter of a sleeve or the faint creak of the wooden floor. Among them was Jishin, a young monk determined to do everything correctly. Yet his body betrayed him. His legs cramped, his back screamed with pain, and his mind raced with endless thoughts. "I am failing," he whispered inwardly. "Everyone else is calm, but I cannot stop this struggle." After the sitting ended, he approached Master Dogen, bowing low. "Master," he confessed, "I try to sit correctly, yet my body aches and my mind rebels. I feel like a fraud." Dogen looked at him with patient eyes. "Show me how you sit incorrectly." Puzzled, Jishin folded his legs, hunched in discomfort, his face tense. "Excellent," Dogen said softly. "Now sit incorrectly with complete sincerity. Be wholly present with what is here. Do not fight it. Do not hide it. Just be the one who struggles." Jishin frowned. "But Master, how can wrong sitting be correct practice?" "Because it is your sitting now," Dogen replied. "If you fight to be other than you are, you add illusion upon illusion. Sit as you are, and the practice is already whole." Something loosened in Jishin's chest. For the first time, he allowed himself to feel the ache, the restlessness, without labeling them as failure. Tears welled in his eyes. Even his imperfection, it seemed, was included in the path. Zen often points us to this truth. Practice is not about escaping struggle, but about embracing it. The Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Even discomfort, when held with awareness, becomes peace. Friend, Do you sometimes measure yourself harshly, thinking, I should be calmer, wiser, better than I am? How heavy that burden feels. But what if your struggles are not obstacles, but part of the path itself? In some temples, teachers even instruct students to exaggerate their bad posture for a few breaths, slouching, fidgeting, sighing. Then they are told, this too is zazen. Slowly, they realize there is no wrong place to begin. Zen masters might ask, can you allow even your failure to become your teacher? As you lie here, my dear one, notice your own body. Perhaps your shoulders resist softening. Perhaps your mind still wanders. Instead of pushing, let it be. This, too, is practice. This, too, belongs. Jishin eventually discovered that meditation was never about creating some flawless state. It was about resting with honesty. When he stopped judging, the very act of breathing became enough. Friend, tonight, as you drift toward sleep, may you remember, there is no wrong way to rest. Your breath, your body, your mind, just as they are already whole. You are not failing. You are already here, and that is enough. Friend, can you still feel Jishin's relief? The way his struggle softened when he realized even imperfection belonged? That laughter, that loosening, is the sound of awakening itself. With that ease resting in your chest, let us follow another tale, one about the courage not to fight harder, but to release the grip and trust the flow. In a clear, rushing river at the edge of a forest, a colony of small creatures lived clinging tightly to stones and branches at the bottom. From birth, they were taught one thing: hold fast. If you let go, the current will sweep you to destruction. And so, generation after generation, they grasped tightly, muscles aching, afraid to release. Among them was one who grew weary. Watching the shimmering water glide above, he whispered, I am tired of clinging. I do not know where the river leads, but surely it carries life as well as danger. Better to trust the current than to die holding on. The others scoffed. Fool, the moment you let go, you'll be battered against the rocks and lost forever. But the little one, with a deep breath, unclenched his grip. At once, the current seized him. He was tumbled and bruised, struck by stones, his body spinning helplessly. Pain seared him, just as the others had warned. Fear surged, yet something within urged, stay loose. Do not cling again. So he surrendered, and slowly the river lifted him higher, carrying him above the jagged bottom. He rose into the sunlit flow, drifting freely, supported by something greater than his own strength. those still below watched in astonishment. "Look," they cried, "one of us flies with the current. A miracle!" The little one called back, his voice full of joy. "It is no miracle. The river lifts all who let go. It is not I who fly, but the current that carries me. All you must do is release." But the others clung harder, whispering legends of his courage, even as their own arms trembled with strain. Zen tells us, clinging is the root of suffering. The Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to. We hold on to identities, possessions, fears, even pain, believing they keep us safe. Yet it is the grasping itself that exhausts us. Letting go does not mean loss. It means trusting the flow of life itself. Friend, what are you clinging to tonight? Perhaps an old memory, replaying endlessly. Perhaps an expectation for tomorrow. Perhaps a need to control what cannot be controlled. What if, even for this moment, you could loosen your grip? What if you could trust that the current will hold you? Some Zen novices are given a small stone to hold in meditation. They are told to squeeze it tightly until their hand shakes with fatigue. Then they are asked to open the hand, letting the stone fall. The relief is immediate, a bodily reminder that freedom comes from release. Zen masters might ask, what stone could you set down tonight? As you rest here, dear one, imagine yourself as that creature in the river. Your hands have clung all day to tasks, worries, and stories. Feel them now, tight, aching, and then imagine unclenching, letting go. At first, perhaps turbulence shakes you, thoughts thrash, but soon the current cradles you, weightless, effortless, carrying you toward rest. The creature discovered the river was never his enemy. It was the very life he feared to trust. Tonight, friend, may you also surrender to this current, the flow of breath, the rhythm of sleep, the vastness holding you. The river does not ask you to swim. It only asks you to release. Friend, the current still flows within you, doesn't it? Can you feel it? How your own breath rises and falls like water, carrying you without effort? The courage of that small creature reminds us that surrender is not weakness, but the doorway to freedom. Tonight, let us deepen this lesson with another story, one about bitterness and the way awareness itself can dissolve it. In a quiet monastery nestled among rolling hills, a young apprentice often complained to his teacher. Each day, a new grievance weighed him down. "Master," he moaned one morning, "life is so unfair. Yesterday, a fellow monk insulted me during work. Today, the rice was burnt, and I suffered through my meal. Tomorrow, no doubt, something else will go wrong. Why must there always be suffering? The master listened silently. Then, after a long pause, he said, "Bring me a handful of salt." The apprentice obeyed, puzzled. He returned with a small pile of coarse crystals in his palm. "Now," the master instructed, handing him a cup of water, "place the salt into this cup and drink." The apprentice dropped the salt in, swirled the cup, and took a sip. Immediately, he spat it out, his face twisted. "Bitter, overwhelming." The master nodded calmly. "Now take the same handful of salt and follow me." They walked to the edge of a vast lake. Its surface glimmered in the morning light, wide and still. "Throw the salt into the lake," the master said. The apprentice scattered the crystals, which vanished soundlessly beneath the water. "Now drink," the master urged. The apprentice knelt, cupped his hands, and tasted. The water was fresh, cool, untainted. "How is it?" asked the master. "Pure," said the apprentice, eyes wide. The master smiled gently. "Life's bitterness is the same salt. The difference is whether you are a cup or a lake. When your mind is small, every hurt overwhelms you. When your awareness expands, bitterness dissolves into vastness. Be the lake, my son, not the cup." The Buddha taught, "Pain is certain, suffering is optional. Pain is like the salt, inevitable in human life. But suffering arises when we hold it too tightly, when our container is too narrow. Expand awareness, and the same pain becomes bearable, even transformed. Friend, think of your own life. Perhaps someone's harsh words sting. Perhaps a disappointment lingers. When your mind shrinks around the pain, it feels like everything. But when you breathe wider, noticing the trees outside, the stars above, the kindness you've received, suddenly the salt dissolves and the water remains sweet. Some monks train in this by meditating near open lakes or wide skies. They breathe deeply, imagining their awareness spreading as wide as the horizon. In that space, no single thought or hurt can overwhelm them. Zen masters might ask, "Right now, are you a glass of water or a lake?" As you rest, dear one, imagine the bitterness you've carried today, the stress, the worries, the small frustrations, as grains of salt in your hand. Picture yourself tossing them into a vast, moonlit lake. Watch them vanish into stillness. Can you feel how light the water becomes? How sweet the night air tastes? The apprentice returned to the monastery, humbled. He realized his suffering was not in the salt, but in the size of his mind. And from that day on, whenever bitterness arose, he breathed wider, remembering the lake. Friend, may you also rest tonight with the spaciousness of the lake. May your awareness be so vast that no salt can overwhelm it. Breathe deeply, expand, and drift upon the still waters of peace, friend. The lake still shimmers inside you, doesn't it? When calm, untouched by the handfuls of salt life throws your way. Every breath now feels a little larger, a little freer, as if your chest itself were a quiet lake under moonlight. With this spaciousness surrounding you, let us wander into another story, this time about a shepherd who revealed the secret of true contentment. On a mountain path, a weary traveler met a shepherd watching over his flock. The sun was just lifting above the hills, and bells tied around the sheep's necks rang softly as they grazed. The shepherd sat cross-legged on a stone, his posture relaxed, his face carrying a smile that seemed unbothered by anything. The traveler, weighed down by worry about his journey, bowed politely. "Good day, friend. Tell me, what sort of weather do you expect today?" The shepherd looked at the sky, then back at the traveler. His eyes sparkled. "The kind of weather I like." The traveler frowned. "But how can you know it will be the weather you like?" The shepherd chuckled gently. "I cannot always have what I like, so I learned to always like what I have." The traveler stood speechless. His mind, busy with judgments, could not argue with such simple wisdom. As he looked at the calm shepherd, he felt his own worries ease. Zen calls this great acceptance, the art of welcoming what arrives instead of warring against it. The Buddha taught, attachment is the root of suffering. When we cling to what we wish life would be, we suffer every time it is different. But when we meet life as it comes, peace arises naturally. Friend, consider how often you resist the weather of your own days, the traffic jam that frustrates you, the rain that spoils your plans, the small inconveniences that tighten your chest. Each resistance is like shouting at the clouds, trying to bend the sky to your will. Yet the shepherd smiled at every sky, every storm, because he carried no fight inside. In Zen monasteries, students often sweep leaves in the courtyard. Just as they finish, wind scatters new leaves everywhere. At first, they groan in frustration, but over time, they learn. The task was never to finish sweeping. The task was to meet the moment, leaves or no leaves, with the same acceptance. Zen masters might ask, what would it feel like if you liked the weather of your life exactly as it is? As you rest, dear one, imagine yourself as that shepherd. The flock grazes quietly around you. The sky shifts between clouds and sun. The air is warm one moment, cool the next. Each change arrives, and each one is the kind of weather you like. because you have learned not to resist. Can you feel the peace in that? The traveler continued on his way, still uncertain about his path, yet lighter for having met the shepherd. He carried with him the echo of that smile, a reminder that happiness is not in what happens, but in how we meet it. Friend, tonight, may you find the same contentment, whether your body feels restless or relaxed, whether your mind is quiet or noisy. Let it be the kind of weather you like. The sky of your awareness is vast enough to hold it all. Friend, the shepherd's smile still lingers in your chest, doesn't it? That ease of accepting the sky just as it comes, without complaint or demand. As your body grows heavier and your breath steadier, let us move into another teaching. Tonight, we pour a simple cup of tea and discover why wisdom can only enter when the mind is made spacious. A proud scholar once traveled across provinces to meet a Zen master. He had studied sutras, memorized doctrines, and debated with philosophers. His scrolls overflowed with words, and his mind brimmed with conclusions. Bowing deeply, he said, "Master, I have prepared my whole life. Teach me the heart of Zen." The master nodded, leading him into a modest room. Instead of answering, he set out 2 cups and a teapot. Steam rose, carrying the scent of roasted leaves. The scholar shifted impatiently, thinking, "I did not come here for tea." The master began to pour. The scholar's cup filled to the brim, but the master kept pouring. Tea spilled over, soaking the saucer, dripping across the floor. "Stop!" the scholar cried. "The cup is full. It cannot hold any more." The master set down the pot and looked at him kindly. "Just so. And like this cup, your mind is full. How can I show you Zen when there is no room? First, empty your cup." The scholar's cheeks burned. For all his knowledge, he realized he had carried it like heavy luggage, leaving no space for wonder. Zen calls this beginner's mind, to meet each moment as if for the first time. The Buddha said, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's, few." It is not ignorance, but openness, the courage to release certainty and allow life to surprise you. Friend, how often do you meet life with a cup already full? Perhaps with judgments, stories, or expectations. Have you ever dismissed a moment because you thought you already knew it? What if peace and insight are waiting, not in more information, but in space? In some monasteries, novices sweep the same stone path each morning. At first, it feels repetitive, but with beginner's mind, they notice new details each day. The song of a bird, the way light shifts, the scent of pine carried on the wind. The ordinary reveals itself as extraordinary when the cup is empty. Zen masters might ask, can you meet tonight as if you have never lived it before? As you rest, my dear one, picture your mind as a teacup. All day, it has been filled with tasks, thoughts, worries. Feel the heaviness of it. And now, with each slow exhale, imagine tipping it gently, letting the contents pour out. Thought by thought, the cup empties. Soon, it is light, clear, waiting to be filled with peace. The scholar eventually bowed deeply, humbled. He realized the greatest teaching was not in words, but in the act of pouring itself. To receive, one must first be open. Friend, tonight may you sleep as an empty cup, ready, spacious, hell of the night. Whatever tomorrow pours into you, you will meet it freshly, with calm and curiosity. For now, let peace fill your cup, drop by drop, until you overflow with rest. Friend, your cup is light now, isn't it? Emptied of the day's heaviness, open to receive rest as naturally as breath itself. With beginner's mind resting in you, let us wander to a farmer's home, where fortune and misfortune twist together like vines. This story reminds us that life is not so quick to label as good or bad. Long ago, in a quiet valley, lived an old farmer and his only son. Their farm was small, their resources simple, but their lives steady. Their greatest treasure was a strong horse that pulled the plow and carried loads from the market. One morning, they awoke to find the stable door open and the horse gone. Neighbors rushed over, shaking their heads. "Such bad luck," they lamented. "How will you work your fields without the horse?" The old farmer shrugged gently. "Bad luck, good luck, who can say?" A week later, the horse returned, leading a small herd of wild horses into the stable. The neighbors gasped. "Such good luck," they cheered. "Now you are rich in horses." Again, the farmer said calmly, "Good luck, bad luck, who can say?" Not long after, the farmer's son tried to tame one of the new horses. The animal bucked wildly, throwing him to the ground. His leg broke badly, leaving him limping and unable to help with farm work. The neighbors cried, "What terrible luck!" The farmer looked at his son's leg and said, "Bad luck, good luck, who can say?" Weeks passed. Soldiers came through the valley, conscripting every able-bodied young man for a brutal war. Many would never return, but the farmer's son, with his broken leg, was left behind. Neighbors whispered, "How fortunate your son is." Once more, the farmer said only, "Good luck, bad luck, who can say?" Zen teaches us that reality unfolds beyond our limited view. The Buddha said, "Everything changes. Nothing remains. What seems misfortune may open the way to grace. What seems fortune may conceal hardship. The wisdom lies in not clinging to labels, but resting in trust." Friend, think of your own life. Can you remember times when what felt like disaster became a blessing in disguise? Or when what seemed like triumph revealed hidden struggle? How quick we are to judge, forgetting that life is always moving, weaving meaning we cannot yet see. In Zen training, students are sometimes instructed to answer events simply with the phrase, "perhaps." Whether praised or criticized, whether they gain or lose, they bow and say, "Perhaps." It is not passivity, but recognition that the story is not finished. Zen masters might ask, what if you stopped deciding so quickly whether life was for you or against you? As you rest, dear one, imagine yourself as that farmer. Neighbors gush with cries of good or bad, but you remain steady, neither clinging to hope nor sinking in despair. You gaze at the unfolding sky, knowing each change is simply the next step in the story. Can you feel the ease in that? The farmer's wisdom is the wisdom of patience. He did not try to force meaning, but allowed life to reveal itself in time. Tonight, may you also let go of labels. Let today's events rest as they are. Not good, not bad, only part of a story still unfolding. Friend, may your heart remain calm as the valley, welcoming both sun and storm with the same gentle bow. Friend, the farmer's calm words still echo, don't they? Good luck, bad luck, who can say? Like ripples in a pond, they remind us that every judgment is only partial, that the story is never finished. As your breath grows slower, your chest rising and falling with ease, let us step into another lesson, one where heaven and hell are not distant realms, but states of mind created in a single instant. A young monk once traveled far to meet Master Sengai. His sandals were worn thin, his face pale from long days on the road. When he arrived, he bowed low, his voice trembling with urgency. "Master," he said, "I beg you, tell me about the afterlife. What awaits us when we die? Where are heaven and hell?" Sengai studied him with quiet eyes. Then, to the monk's surprise, he lay down on the floor as if preparing for sleep. He stretched out his arms, closed his eyes, and soon began snoring loudly, filling the meditation hall with coarse, rumbling breaths. The monk stiffened, his face flushing with indignation. Master, I have come in sincerity, and you mock me with sleep? This is an insult." His anger surged, and he gathered his belongings, ready to storm out. Just then, Sengai sat up sharply. His eyes pierced the monk with sudden clarity. He raised a finger and said firmly, "That is hell." The monk froze. Then Sengai's expression softened. His voice grew warm, gentle. "And this," he said, smiling with kindness, "is heaven." In that moment, the monk understood. His rage had created torment instantly. The master's smile dissolved it just as quickly. Heaven and hell were not far off destinations. They were the states he built with his own mind. The Buddha taught, "We are what we think. With our thoughts, we make the world." Each thought of resentment burns like fire. Each thought of love opens the gates of peace. Friend, reflect for a moment. How many times have you built your own hell? Perhaps when replaying an argument, feeding the flames of anger. Perhaps when worrying endlessly about what might come. In those moments, the mind paints torment all around you. And yet, one breath of kindness, one shift of awareness, and heaven opens in the same space. In some monasteries, students are asked to label their thoughts as they arise. This is heaven. This is hell. Over time, they see how quickly they can shift between the two, discovering that the choice rests not in circumstance, but in the quality of the heart. Zen masters might ask, what if heaven and hell are not places you go, but doors you open with each thought? As you lie here, dear one, notice the state of your own mind. Perhaps small irritations still flicker, but can you soften them with one kind breath? Perhaps worries circle, but can you smile at them gently? Even now, heaven is available in the simplicity of resting in this moment. The young monk left Sengai's temple humbled. He no longer searched for realms beyond. He realized that with every step, every word, every thought, he was already building heaven or hell beneath his feet. Friend, tonight, let heaven be here. Let your breath be the gate. Inhale peace, exhale worry. Rest in the soft, steady awareness that you are safe, that you are held. And with this, let heaven unfold gently inside you. Friend, the smile of Master Sengai still glows inside you, doesn't it? That gentle reminder that heaven and hell are never far away. They are born and dissolved with each thought. As you lie more deeply in rest, your body heavy and your breath soft, let us wander to another lesson. This one is about the burdens of the past and how we may finally set them down. At dawn, the monastery garden shimmered with dew. A young seeker approached his teacher, shoulders bent beneath an invisible weight. His eyes were weary, his voice heavy. "Master," he said, bowing low, "why do I feel as if I carry my past on my back? Mistakes I've made, wrongs I've suffered, regrets I cannot escape. I live today, yet yesterday clings to me like a shadow." The teacher nodded gently and handed him a sturdy backpack. "Walk with me." They entered a small maze of silk screens, paths twisting and turning beneath morning light. The young man walked slowly, his body straining beneath the heavy bag. At each corner, he grew more exhausted, sweat dripping, spirit fading. Finally, he collapsed to his knees. "Master," he gasped, "this burden is unbearable. What have you placed in this pack?" The teacher urged him to open it. To his astonishment, the bag was empty. Nothing at all lay inside, yet the weight remained. "Do you see?" the master said softly. "It is not the bag that burdens you. It is what you imagine you carry." The young man closed his eyes. Faces arose, people who had wronged him, mistakes he had clung to, words spoken long ago. Each memory made the bag heavier. Then he whispered, trembling, "I forgive you. I forgive myself." With each word, the burden lifted until the pack felt weightless. Tears fell as he realized the weight was never real. It was only his refusal to release. Zen reminds us, suffering is often not from the event itself, but from the story we hold long after. The Buddha taught, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting another to die. Only forgiveness of others and ourselves can dissolve the weight. Friend, what burdens do you still carry tonight? Perhaps a mistake you replay again and again. Perhaps anger at someone who never apologized. Perhaps grief over something you cannot change. What if you could set the backpack down, even for this moment? In some temples, monks write grievances on slips of paper, then burn them, watching smoke rise into the sky. The practice is not to erase the past, but to release its hold. Zen masters might ask, if your backpack is empty, why insist on carrying it? As you rest, dear one, imagine yourself with a pack upon your shoulders, heavy, pressing, pulling you down. Now picture opening it. Inside, only echoes, memories, and regrets. Whisper softly, "I release you." Feel the straps loosen, the weight falling away. Can you sense the lightness, the freedom of walking without it? The young seeker left the maze transformed. His back still bore the straps, but They carried no weight. For the first time, he felt the present as light and open. Friend, tonight may you also set your pack down. May you forgive what is past. May you rest not beneath the burden of yesterday, but in the lightness of now. Friend, can you feel the straps loosening even now? That invisible weight you've carried, quietly sliding from your shoulders, leaving your chest lighter, your breath freer. Tonight, let us walk into another story, one where even loss cannot take away what truly matters. It is a tale of a master, a thief, and a treasure no one can steal. Master Ryoan lived in a hut on the mountainside. His possessions were few: a straw mat for sleeping, a wooden bowl for eating, and a thin quilt for the cold nights. To most, such poverty seemed unbearable. To Ryoan, it was freedom. One evening, a thief crept up the mountain path. Hungry and desperate, he pushed open the frail door and searched the hut. Finding almost nothing, he cursed under his breath. Just as he prepared to leave, Ryoan stirred awake. Instead of fear, he greeted the intruder with warmth. "Friend," he said softly, "you came a long way. You should not leave empty-handed." The thief froze, unsure. Ryoan rose, lifted his only quilt, and placed it in the thief's hands. "Take this. The nights are cold. May it keep you warm." Stunned, the thief stammered, but could not refuse. He fled into the darkness, quilt clutched tightly. Ryoan stepped outside, shivering but smiling. Above him, the moon shone bright, spilling silver light across the valley. He whispered into the night, "If only I could give him this moon, too." Zen teaches that true wealth is not measured by possessions, but by freedom from clinging. The Buddha said, "Happiness never decreases by being shared." Even when Ryoan gave away his last blanket, he remained rich in what no thief could touch: his joy, his compassion, his peace. Friend, what treasures do you hold that cannot be stolen? A kind memory, a loving gesture, the simple miracle of breath? These are riches no thief, no loss, no time can take away. Some monks practice generosity by giving away their last comfort: a cushion, a robe, a pair of sandals. At first, fear arises. What if I need it later? But soon they discover joy in giving and realize the greatest wealth lies in freedom from attachment. Zen masters might ask, if everything material slipped from your hands, what treasure would remain glowing in your heart? As you rest, dear one, imagine moonlight spilling into your room. It touches the walls, the bed, your face. This light is free, endless, unpossessable. let it remind you that the most precious things, peace, kindness, stillness, are already yours, beyond loss. The thief left with a quilt, but Rioan remained wrapped in moonlight. So too may you rest tonight, wrapped not only in fabric, but in an unstealable wealth, the treasure of a heart that knows peace. Friend, may you sleep under the same moon, rich beyond measure. Friend, the silver glow of that moon still lingers, doesn't it? Can you feel it touching your own heart? The truth that treasures beyond measure cannot be stolen. As your body sinks deeper into rest, let us enter another tale, one that whispers of guilt, fear, and the ghosts we create in our own minds. In a remote village, a man named Haru lived alone after the passing of his beloved wife. Though years had passed, grief clung to him like a shadow. At night, when the winds moaned across the thatched roof, he felt her absence like a wound that never healed. One evening, while he sat near a dim lantern, he heard soft footsteps behind him. Turning quickly, he saw a figure standing in the doorway. A pale outline, eyes hollow, face obscured by the darkness. His heart raced. "It is her," he whispered, trembling. "Her spirit has returned." The figure moved closer. Haru's body shook with fear and guilt. In his grief, he had often scolded himself. "I should have cared more, loved more, done more while she lived." Now his guilt painted the air with terror. But when the lantern flame steadied, the figure became clear. It was not his wife's ghost at all, only a villager stopping by to bring food. Haru gasped with relief, and in that moment, he understood. The ghost had been his own creation. His guilt had turned emptiness into haunting. Zen reminds us, the mind projects its fears into the world, and then recoils in terror from its own shadows. The Buddha taught, "With our thoughts, we make the world." The ghosts we dread are often only echoes of regret or guilt we have not released. Friend, consider your own life. Do you carry memories that return like ghosts, mistakes that whisper in the quiet of night? Do they frighten you, even though they are made only of thought? What if, like Haru, you let the lantern of awareness shine upon them and saw their true nature? In some Zen temples, novices meditate in graveyards at night. At first, fear grips them, the rustle of wind, the shifting of shadows, every sound a ghost. But slowly, they realize the ghosts are within, not without. When the heart grows clear, the night becomes only night, the wind only wind. Zen masters might ask, are you haunted by the past or by the stories you tell about it? As you rest, dear one, Imagine a lantern glowing within your chest. Each memory, each ghost of guilt approaches the light. And as it does, you see clearly. There is nothing to fear. Only thought, only shadow, dissolving in the glow. Haru lived differently after that night. He still grieved, but no longer carried guilt. He honored his wife by living gently, by letting light fill the spaces where ghosts once lingered. Friend, may you too shine the lantern of awareness upon your shadows. Tonight, let every ghost dissolve into calm. You are not haunted. You are whole, safe, and already free. Friend, can you feel the lantern still glowing softly within you? Its light has scattered shadows, showing that ghosts lose their power when we see them clearly. Resting in that gentle clarity, let us move into another story. A tale of a thief, a master, and the unexpected kindness that transformed a desperate heart. Late one night, in a quiet temple at the forest's edge, a thief crept inside. He slipped past the wooden gate, his footsteps careful on the stone floor. He searched the darkened rooms, looking for coins, silver bowls, anything of value. But the temple was poor. Its treasures were not gold or silk, but silence and wind in the pines. At last, the thief pushed open a small door. Inside, Master Hakuin sat cross-legged, meditating in the glow of a single candle. His eyes opened, calm and unstartled. "Ah," Hakuin said softly, "you have come. I imagine you are hungry. Take what you need." The thief froze, stunned. He had expected curses, shouts, even a fight, but not this. Hakuin rose and fetched a small robe folded neatly by his mat. "I have little, but this will keep you warm tonight. Please, take it." The thief, trembling, accepted. The silence of the temple pressed around him. He fled, confused, clutching the robe. The next day, word spread that the temple had been visited by a thief. Villagers rushed to see what was stolen. They found Master Hakuin sitting peacefully, gazing out at the blossoms drifting from the trees. "Did the thief harm you? Did he take much?" they asked. Hakuin smiled gently. "He took nothing of mine. I gave him what I could. If only I could have given him the moonlight as well." The Buddha taught, "Hatred never ceases by hatred, but only by love." Hakuin embodied this teaching, offering compassion instead of fear, generosity instead of anger. Friend, think of your own moments of being wronged. Someone may have spoken harshly, taken advantage, or betrayed your trust. Did anger rise, as if to defend your dignity? What if, instead, you met them with unexpected kindness? Could it soften the grip of pain, perhaps even transform it? Some Zen teachers instruct their students to practice dana, the perfection of generosity, by giving away something they value, not to lose, but to learn that the act of offering dissolves fear. Even a smile, a gentle word, can disarm the thief of anger in another's heart. Zen masters might ask, what would happen when someone tried to take from you? You gave freely instead. As you rest, dear one, imagine yourself in Hakuin's place. A stranger bursts into your room, driven by desperation. Instead of fear, you breathe deeply. You find something to offer. Your calm, your compassion, your peace. Can you feel how light you become, knowing that what is deepest in you cannot be stolen? The thief who left Hakuin's temple carried more than a robe. He carried a seed of kindness planted in silence. Years later, villagers whispered that he returned often, not to steal, but to sit quietly under the pines, drawn back by the gift of compassion he once received. Friend, tonight may you rest in the same generosity. Nothing you give from the heart is ever truly lost, and no thief can take away the moonlight of your inner peace. Friend, the kindness of Master Hakuin still glows, doesn't it? That simple act of offering a robe, of meeting fear with compassion, it lingers like the warmth of a candle long after the flame has gone. Can you feel it in your own chest? The quiet truth that peace cannot be stolen. With that calm resting within you, let us drift into another story, one about a tree that granted wishes, and how the mind itself can shape the world we live in. A weary traveler once wandered deep into the forest, his body aching, his mind clouded by despair. After hours of walking, he collapsed beneath the shade of a great tree, its branches arching wide, its leaves whispering in the wind. Without knowing it, he had found the legendary wishing tree. Resting there, the man sighed. If only I had something soft to lie on. The ground is so hard. At once, the moss beneath him thickened, becoming soft as silk. He marveled, amazed, yet too tired to question. His stomach growled. If only I had food. Instantly, a tray of warm rice and fragrant vegetables appeared. He ate hungrily, the taste better than any feast he had known. As the meal ended, he stretched with delight. If only I had wine to wash it down. A jar of fine sake appeared, cool and sweet. He drank, his heart filling with ease. Then a shadow of doubt crossed his mind. What if demons live in this forest? What if they come now and harm me? At once, fierce demons appeared from the trees, snarling, their eyes blazing. Terrified, the traveler cried, What if they kill me? And with that thought, the demons leapt upon him. The forest fell silent. Only the wishing tree remained, its branches swaying as if sighing at the man's fate. Zen masters tell this story to show the power of thought. The Buddha said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." Joy, fear, joy, and despair are seeds planted by the mind. Nurtured, they grow into the reality we experience. Friend, reflect for a moment. What thoughts have you planted today? Did you sow fear, doubt, resentment? Or did you water seeds of peace, gratitude, and compassion? Imagine your mind as a garden. What blossoms will you choose to cultivate? In some monasteries, students are told to sit quietly and notice each thought as a seed. They bow to the peaceful seeds, offering them water and attention. To the harmful seeds, they bow as well, but let them drift away, refusing to feed them. Slowly, the garden of the mind becomes filled with flowers instead of weeds. Zen masters might ask, if your mind were a wishing tree, what world would you be creating tonight? As you lie here, dear one, imagine yourself beneath such a tree. Your thoughts drift upward into its branches, shaping the world around you. Breathe gently and offer peaceful wishes. May I be safe. May I rest deeply. May I be free from worry. Feel how the air itself softens as those wishes take form. The wishing tree reminds us that our inner world is not separate from the outer. The traveler's fear became demons. Our peace can become a lantern for others. Tonight, friend, may your thoughts be tender and light, carrying you into dreams where kindness blossoms and shadows dissolve. Friend, the branches of the wishing tree still sway within you, don't they? Each thought like a seed, shaping the dream that follows. Tonight, let us follow another story, one of a warrior bound in chains, who discovered that freedom is not found in breaking walls, but in resting fully in the present moment. In the time of warring states, a young samurai was captured in battle. His captors stripped him of his sword, bound him with iron chains, and locked him in a dark cell. For days, he struggled against his restraints, muscles straining, wrists bleeding. His mind roared with plans of escape, with fury at his enemies, with grief for all he had lost. One evening, as the moonlight seeped faintly through the bars, an old monk visited the prison. Sitting calmly outside the cell, he asked gently, "Why do you suffer so?" The samurai spat bitterly. "Why? Because I am trapped. Because I cannot fight, cannot move, cannot live as I once did. I am doomed." The monk tilted his head. "Are you doomed in this breath?" The samurai blinked. "What do you mean?" Right now, the monk said softly, are you being harmed? Right now, is there not air in your lungs? Can you not hear the crickets outside, smell the earth, feel the cool iron on your skin? In this moment, are you not alive? The samurai's anger faltered. He took a breath. The air was indeed cool and sweet. His ears caught the chorus of insects, the distant drip of water. For the first time, he noticed the softness of the present moment. Your chains may bind your body, the monk continued, but only your thoughts make you captive. Tomorrow's fears, yesterday's regrets, these are the true prison. Freedom is here, in this very breath. Zen teaches us that liberation is not postponed until conditions change. The Buddha said, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. The present is the key that opens all cages. Friend, consider your own life. Do you feel imprisoned by plans gone wrong, by regrets, by fears of what tomorrow may bring? What if you, too, asked, am I suffering in this very breath, or only in the stories I tell around it? Some monks practice meditation by sitting in small, bare rooms, deliberately removing distractions. At first, the emptiness feels suffocating, but slowly they learn to taste the richness of the present, the breath, the sound of wind, the simple aliveness of now. Zen masters might ask, even if chained, could you still be free in this breath? As you rest, dear one, imagine the iron chains falling loosely around you. They are heavy, yes, but they do not define you. Notice your breath, the cool air entering, the warm air leaving. In this moment, you are free. You are safe. You are whole. The samurai never broke free of his cell. Yet when his captors returned, they found a man transformed, no longer raging, no longer despairing. He sat in stillness, breathing as calmly as the old monk. Though bound in chains, he had discovered the only freedom that matters. Freedom in the present moment. Friend, tonight may you rest in that same freedom. Tomorrow's worries cannot bind you. Yesterday's ghosts cannot weigh you down. In this breath, in this very moment, you are free. Friend, do you feel the cool breath of freedom in your chest? The samurai's chains have fallen away inside you too, haven't they? Each inhale, each exhale, a reminder that the present moment is the only place peace has ever lived. With that calm resting in your heart, let us step into another teaching, one about the waves of change and the gentle truth that this too shall pass. An aging master once gathered his students in the courtyard. The day was bright, blossoms drifting like snowflakes in the spring air. In his hand, he held a small clay cup, plain and ordinary. "Look closely," he said, raising it high. "I treasure this cup. To me, it is already broken." The students frowned, puzzled. The cup was whole, uncracked. The master smiled. "Because it is already broken in my mind, every moment I drink from it is precious. And when one day it falls, I will not grieve, for its passing is natural." He set the cup down carefully and continued, "So it is with all things, joy and sorrow, gain and loss, life and death. Each is already passing, already broken, already flowing. When you see this, you cling less and live more." The Buddha taught, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. Impermanence is not tragedy. It is the truth that allows each moment to shine. A flower's beauty is precious because it will wither. A child's laughter is sweet because it will fade. Life is not lessened by impermanence. It is illuminated by it. Friend, think of your own struggles, the worry that has kept you restless, the heaviness that clings to your heart. Can you remember times before when storms came and passed? They always pass. Even now, whatever weighs, you will one day dissolve, like clouds across a vast sky. Some monks practice by holding a flower until its petals fall, watching the process without resistance. Others meditate upon a candle flame, noticing how it flickers, how it dies, how the darkness that follows is also complete. In this way, they learn to rest in the rhythm of change. Zen masters might ask, if you knew this pain would pass, how would you meet it differently? If you knew this joy would pass, how would you savor it more? As you rest here, my dear one, let your breath remind you of impermanence. Each inhale arises, each exhale fades. The rise and fall never end, yet each moment is unique. You do not cling to one breath, for you trust the next will follow. Life itself is like this. The master's cup did eventually break, as all things do. But when it did, he smiled, sweeping the shards into the garden, letting them return to the earth. His students wept, but he only bowed, whispering, "This too has passed." Friend, tonight may you rest in the same wisdom. Whatever clings in your mind, let it soften. Whatever joy you hold, let it shine brighter for being brief. Each moment is already flowing away, and that is what makes it beautiful. This, too, shall pass, and in that truth, you are free. Friend, the sound of that breaking cup still echoes softly, doesn't it? Yet even in its breaking, there was no despair, only freedom, only a reminder that every moment is precious because it passes. As your breath deepens now, let us move into another story, one of seeds, patience, and trust in what we cannot control. In a quiet valley, spring arrived late one year. The earth was hard, the rains slow to come. Villagers worried about the harvest. But an old farmer walked calmly to his field, a bag of seeds slung across his shoulder. His neighbors called out, "Old man, why waste your effort? The ground is dry, the clouds stubborn. Better wait for certain rains." The farmer only smiled. "The rains will come when they do. My task is only to plant." And so he scattered seeds across the parched soil, humming softly as he worked. Each seed fell into the dust, vanishing beneath his steady hand. Weeks passed, and still no rain. The neighbors mocked him. "Foolish man, your seeds are wasted." But the farmer tended his fields anyway, pulling weeds, loosening soil, whispering blessings into the ground. At last, the rains arrived. Soft at first, then steady, soaking deep into the thirsty earth. Green shoots broke through the soil, fragile yet determined. The farmer bowed to them, whispering gratitude. By harvest season, his field was rich with grain. The others, who had waited for perfect certainty, found themselves scrambling, their fields bare. Zen teaches that our work is to plant. The results are not ours to command. The Buddha said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." To plant a seed without demanding its growth is to live with patience and trust. Friend, how often do you hesitate, waiting for the perfect time, the perfect condition? How much peace is lost in trying to control outcomes that were never in your hands? The old farmer's wisdom was simple. Do what you can now, and let life unfold. Some monks practice by planting actual seeds in the monastery garden, tending them without expectation. They bow to the soil daily, as if each seed were already whole, already complete. In time, they learn that patience itself is a kind of harvest. Zen masters might ask, if you planted your efforts with no concern for results, how light would your heart feel? As you lie here, dear one, imagine yourself scattering seeds gently upon the earth of your own life. Each thought of kindness, each act of patience, each moment of rest is a seed. You may not see it sprout tomorrow, but trust that it grows beneath the surface. Your task is not to force growth, but to plant with sincerity. The old farmer's harvest was not only in grain, it was in his calm, his freedom from worry, his steady faith in the rhythms of nature. Friend, tonight may you rest as he did, sowing peace in your breath, planting trust in your heart, knowing that the rains will come when they come, and all will unfold in time. Friend, can you feel the farmer's calm patience within you? His trust in the rains, his willingness to plant even without certainty. As your breath steadies, you too are sowing seeds, seeds of rest, seeds of peace that will bloom quietly in your dreams. With that trust in place, let us return once more to the river, where another empty boat drifts, and with it, another chance to see conflict dissolve like mist. It was early morning, and mist rolled thick across a broad river. A fisherman, weary from a long night, guided his small boat through the fog. His shoulders ached, and his mind simmered with irritation. Each failed cast of his net, each long hour without fish, had soured his spirit. Suddenly, a shape emerged ahead. Another boat, gliding silently toward him. He tightened his grip on the oar. "Fool!" he shouted into the fog. "Watch where you're going." The boat kept drifting closer. His anger flared hotter. "Move aside. Are you blind?" When the vessel bumped into his, the fisherman leapt to his feet, ready to unleash a storm of curses. But as the fog parted, he saw the truth. The boat was empty. No rival, no insult, no one to fight. His anger dissolved, replaced by a strange quiet. He laughed suddenly, the sound startling even to himself. "So much fury," he whispered, "for nothing." The river flowed on, indifferent and calm. Zen masters often retell this story, not once, but again and again, because anger too returns again and again. It is not enough to hear the lesson once. We must see it each time rage rises. The Buddha said, "Hatred is never appeased by hatred, but by non-hatred alone. This is an eternal law." Friend, think of your own conflicts. How often have you shouted at empty boats, at accidents, at strangers who never meant you harm, at life itself? What if each time you remembered this story and allowed the anger to dissolve like mist? Some monks practice by walking slowly along rivers, visualizing their resentments as boats bumping gently into them. Each time, they bow to the boat, whispering, "Empty, empty." Over time, the reflex to fight softens into laughter, then into compassion. Zen masters might ask, the next time anger rises, could you pause and ask, "Is this just another empty boat?" As you lie here, dear one, imagine the river flowing through your mind. Each frustration, each harsh word, each memory of conflict drifts toward you as a vessel. Let the fog lift. see that it is empty. Watch it drift on, leaving you free and calm. The fisherman returned to shore that morning with few fish, yet lighter than when he had left. He understood now that the greatest catch was not in his nets, but in his heart. The stillness that comes when conflict is seen for the illusion it is. Friend, tonight may you let every boat be empty. May you laugh softly at anger, releasing it into the mist. The river of rest is wide, and it carries you gently forward. Friend, the quiet river still flows within you, doesn't it? Each boat that drifts by, empty, harmless, reminds you how quickly anger can dissolve when we no longer cling to it. As you breathe slowly, feeling the calm deepen, let us follow another tale. This one about a man who spent his life running from his own shadow, only to discover that peace had been with him all along. In a small town, there lived a man haunted by fear. Wherever he went, his shadow followed. At dawn, he saw it stretching before him. At noon, it clung tightly at his feet. At dusk, it stretched long behind him. He grew convinced that this shadow was an enemy, chasing him endlessly. "I must escape," he cried. And so he began to run. He ran through villages, past rivers, across fields. But the faster he ran, the faster the shadow followed. Exhausted, he shouted, "Why will it not leave me?" A wise old woman, seeing his distress, called out, "Why do you run so hard, young man?" "My shadow pursues me," he panted. "I cannot be free." The woman laughed gently. "If you want to be rid of your shadow, do two things. Stop running and sit in the shade of a tree." Confused but desperate, the man collapsed beneath a great oak. For the first time, he sat still. The shadow fell quietly across the earth, no longer frightening, no longer chasing. As he breathed slowly, he realized the shadow had never been an enemy. It was only part of him, appearing because of the light. In that moment, peace arrived. Zen teaches us that much of our suffering comes from running, from our flaws, our mistakes, our fears. The Buddha said, "You cannot travel the path until you have become the path itself." To stop running is to realize there is nothing to escape. Friend, do you have shadows you try to outrun? Perhaps guilt, regret, or traits you wish you could erase. But what if you stopped running? What if you sat quietly, allowing your shadow to rest beside you, seeing it not as enemy, but as teacher? In some monasteries, novices practice by sitting with eyes closed, visualizing the parts of themselves they fear. Anger, jealousy, shame, each is greeted with a bow, acknowledged instead of banished. Over time, the shadows soften, becoming companions rather than foes. Zen masters might ask, what part of yourself are you still running from? And what would happen if you simply sat beneath the tree with it? As you lie here, dear one, picture yourself beneath a wide, gentle tree. The leaves rustle above, casting cool shade. Your shadow lies beside you, not chasing, not threatening, just resting quietly as part of your being. Breathe deeply and let it stay. Notice how peace returns the moment you stop running. The man who once sprinted across fields now walked slowly, calmly, his shadow always present, but no longer feared. For in accepting it, he discovered what he had long missed, the joy of simply being. Friend, may you too rest tonight with your whole self, light and shadow together, safe beneath the great tree of awareness. No need to run, no need to hide. You are already home, friend. The shade of that great tree still lingers, doesn't it? Your shadow resting quietly beside you, no longer an enemy, no longer something to flee. Can you feel the gentleness of that acceptance, like cool leaves whispering above your head? With that calm, let us move to another story, one about light itself, a lantern that shows us how wisdom guides, without ever demanding that we cling to it. In an old temple by the sea, monks gathered each evening to walk the cliffside path. The winds were strong there, the waves crashing below, and the trail was dangerous in the dark. Each monk carried a lantern, its small flame flickering against the vast night. One evening, a new monk joined them. His lantern, freshly lit, glowed bright. He walked quickly, proud that his flame burned more steadily than the others. But as the night deepened, a gust of wind blew, and his lantern went out. Panic seized him. "I cannot see. I cannot walk." He stumbled in fear, nearly losing his footing. Then another monk approached, raising his lantern. The soft light illuminated the path, not only for himself, but for the frightened novice as well. "Do not fear," the elder monk said. "Your lantern may go out, but light is never lost. It shines from many flames, not just your own." Together they continued, the path safe beneath their shared glow. When they returned to the temple, the master spoke. "A lantern is not for clinging. Its flame is for sharing. One light may fade, but the light itself is eternal, passed from hand to hand." Zen reminds us, wisdom is not a possession. It cannot be hoarded or guarded. Like a lantern, it exists to illuminate, not just for ourselves, but for all. The Buddha said, "Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Friend, think of the times you've worried your own light was too small, too fragile. Perhaps you feared losing your peace or felt your strength fade. Yet light is not yours alone. It shines through kindness, through compassion, through every person who carries it. Can you see how it continues endlessly, even when your own lantern flickers? In some monasteries, monks gather at night, each holding an unlit candle. One flame is shared, passed along until the entire hall glows. The point is not the brightness of any one flame, but the truth that light multiplies when given away. Zen masters might ask, what if your peace is strongest not when you keep it, but when you share it? As you rest, dear one, imagine holding a lantern. Its light glows softly, illuminating just enough of the path before you. Ahead, darkness stretches far, but you need not see it all. Step by step, the light is enough. And if your lantern dims, know that others walk beside you, carrying flames ready to share. The young monk learned that night that wisdom is not about guarding his own flame. It is about walking with others, each lantern joining to make the darkness gentle. Friend, tonight may you rest in that same glow. Let your lantern shine softly, not as something to cling to, but as light that joins with countless others. Together, all our flames make the night beautiful. Friend, can you feel the lantern's glow still surrounding you? Its gentle light doesn't banish the night, but it makes each step soft, each shadow less frightening. And so we come to our final story, a lesson from the bamboo grove, where resilience is not found in strength alone, but in bending, in trusting, in never breaking. On the edge of a monastery, there was a grove of bamboo. Tall stalks swayed gracefully in the wind, their green leaves whispering like 1,000 small bells. The monks often sat there in meditation, watching how the bamboo danced with storms. One day, a fierce typhoon swept across the land. Trees split, roofs tore away, walls collapsed. The monks gathered anxiously in the temple, fearing that the grove would be destroyed. But when the storm passed and dawn returned, the bamboo still stood. They had bent nearly to the ground under the violent gusts, yet not one was broken. Slowly, as the winds eased, they straightened again, upright and serene. The master led the monks to the grove and spoke. Do you see? Strength is not in resisting the storm, but in yielding to it. The bamboo survives not because it is rigid, but because it is flexible. So it is with the mind. The Buddha taught, in the end, only 3 things matter: how gently you lived, how fully you loved, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. The bamboo embodies this grace. It does not resist change. It sways, it bends, it trusts the storm to pass. Friend, think of the storms in your own life, moments of anger, fear, or loss. Have you tried to resist them, to stand rigid against what you could not control? How heavy that struggle becomes. But what if you were bamboo, able to bend, to yield, to trust that even the fiercest storm will end? In some Zen temples, monks practice walking meditation in bamboo groves. With each step, they breathe with the swaying stalks, learning to let the rhythm of the wind move through them. It is a lesson written in nature. Resilience is not unyielding strength, but graceful flexibility. Zen masters might ask, when the storm comes, will you break like a rigid tree or bend like bamboo? As you rest here, dear one, imagine yourself standing in a bamboo grove. The wind rises, strong at first, bending you low. Yet you do not break. You sway, you bend. And when the gusts pass, you rise again. Feel how safe it is to yield, how natural it is to trust the storm's passing. The monks never looked at the bamboo the same way again. Each time the wind rustled through the grove, they were reminded, strength is in softness, resilience in surrender, peace in trust. Friend, tonight may you bend with ease. Whatever storms pass through your mind, let them move freely. You are bamboo, rooted, flexible, unbreakable in spirit. Rest in that strength and let the night carry you gently into dreams. Friend, our long journey together has come to its resting place. We have walked rivers and valleys, taverns and temples, lantern-lit paths, and bamboo groves. Along the way, Zen masters, monks, fools, and farmers have whispered their wisdom to us. And each story, though ancient, has carried you closer to the stillness already waiting within you. Now, let us slow everything down. Feel how your body has grown heavy against the bed, how your breath drifts in and out like a quiet tide. There is nothing left to do, nothing to fix, nothing to chase. The world turns gently without your effort. Tonight, you are free. Remember the lake, wide enough to dissolve every grain of salt. Remember the shepherd, smiling at whatever weather arrived. Remember the lantern light, steady enough to share with all. And remember the bamboo, bending without breaking, rising after every storm. These teachings are not distant. They live in you now, flowing through your breath, rooted in your heart. Friend, you are safe here. You are whole. You are enough, exactly as you are in this moment. Let each thought loosen like a knot untied. Let each worry slip away like leaves carried downstream. There is nothing to hold on to. There is only this gentle night, wrapping you like a soft robe, carrying you toward dreams. Breathe one last time with me. In slowly, out fully. Feel the peace of this moment expand until it fills you completely. Now, drift into the silence. Drift into the river. Drift into the moonlight that has always been yours. Sweet dreams, dear one.